In this video we're going to be making a Marble Fighters game, similar to Marble Kingdoms, and I'll be doing it in Unity. First thing we need is a marble, so I'm going to create a circle 2D object. I'm going to give it a collider, circle collider, and a rigid body 2D. Going to disable gravity because they'll be fighting from a top-down perspective. Then we need a sword. So I'm going to create another 2D object. For now I'll just make a rectangle. So I'll just make a square. Maybe give it a gray color. This will also need a rigid body. And once again without gravity. I'm going to make the mass a bit lower so that the sword doesn't swing the marble around. It will need a collider as well. And then it will need a joint. A joint is a way to connect two physics bodies together. So I'll add it over here. So lots of different types of joints. I'm going to go for a hinge joint to allow the sword to swing up and down. While we're at it, let's rename this to marble. And rename this to sword. Hinge joint. And that's connected to the marble. Let me move it over here like that. That is the point on which it will swivel. So as a test, let's give this marble some movement and we can see it in action. So I'm going to create a script for that. Create our script folder. Let's create a marble script. We'll need a reference to the rigid body. And then on start, we're just going to give it some random velocity. So I'm going to do a new vector2 random.value -1/2. That will give us a value between -1/2 and 1/2. And then I'll just multiply this all by some factor. So we'll put that in here. Okay, I need to reference the rigid body. So now if I play, we should have the marble start moving. And the sword is staying attached and moving alongside it. But what I actually want is for the marble to spin. So we'll have a spin acceleration. This is how quickly it will spin around. So every update we'll do body.angular velocity. That's how fast it's spinning at that time. We're going to add the spin acceleration multiplied by the time step. So now our fighter will start spinning around. As you can see, the sword is coming with. Okay, let's add some walls so that the fighters are contained. Just going to do some squares. Okay, here we're seeing something we don't like. The sword is hitting the marble. I forgot to make these colliders. Let's do that quickly. The sword is not colliding with the marble. One thing we can do to change that is here in the joint we can say enable collision. This will mean that the sword won't be clipping through the marble. And this is also limiting what angle the sword can exist at. But there's another way to do that as well. But for now this is a nice behavior. Next, to have them kind of go around the arena, let's also give them an acceleration so that they keep moving. Call it move acceleration, and then we'll do the same thing over here. And here I will apply it in the direction it's already moving. So we'll do body.velocity.normalized. That just gives you the direction it's already moving. Then I'll multiply that by the move acceleration and once again by the time step. But now we also want it to bounce a bit, so let's create a physics material and 2D physics material. Let's call it bounce. Make it very bouncy and apply that to everything we've got. The sword and the walls. Now we should have a marble that's going to bounce around the arena. Yep, there we go. So one thing you'll notice is that it keeps on wanting to swing the sword in one direction. Even if it's going to hit the other side, it will keep on trying to spin in that direction. And the way we can fix that is by applying the sign of the value as well. The sign meaning, is it positive or negative? So we'll apply that over here. So we'll do mathf.sign of the angular velocity, multiply that by the spin acceleration. This means that if it's spinning left, it will try and spin left. If it's spinning right, it will try and spin right. And let's see if that works. Yep, there we go. Now spinning right, now spinning left. Now we need an opponent. So let's make him red and add a blue opponent. So we have two marbles that are fighting. But if they hit each other, it's not going to do anything. So we need to determine that. Before I make too many changes here, let's make this marble into a prefab so that the changes will apply to both marbles. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'll make the copy. So now in the prefab, we need to tell the sword that it is a sword. So I'm going to make a new script for the sword. I'm going to call it weapon. And on the weapon, we're going to detect when the weapon hits a marble and then destroy that marble. We'll do on collision enter, collision, and then we'll do marble M is equal to collision, get component marble. If that is null, we're going to return. That just means we're not going to do the rest of this. If you're hitting a marble, then we're going to destroy the marble's game object. Now before I play it, can you guess what's going to happen? 3, 2, 1, let's see. Did I apply the weapon? I don't think I did. My bad. Let's put the weapon in the sword. Let's try again. What is going to happen? And the marbles died immediately. Because what happened is that the sword collided with its own marble. So we need some way of making sure that you don't friendly fire. We'll do a simple way for now, and then a future video will improve it. So I'm going to add a reference to the marble. So this will be the weapon knowing which marble it is. And then if the marble you're hitting is the marble that you attach to, then block it as well. So that means that if you hit a marble and the marble isn't your marble, then you're going to destroy it. Then we need to reference that in the weapon. So that is the marble. Okay, they are not destroying immediately, so now we can see who's going to win. And red won. Okay. Yeah, so there we've got the basis of it. So if we wanted to add different weapons, one way to do that would be to make different prefabs. So I'm going to make a duplicate of that with Control D. And I'll call this marble with longsword. And over here, I'm just going to make the sword long. Maybe like that and like that. And I'll make it offset a bit so that the sword is able to swivel a bit further. And then let's also make a marble with dual swords. And in this one, let's first make the sword a bit smaller. And then we'll duplicate that and we'll put it over here. And then remember, this handle over here is the swivel point of the hinge joint. So we'll just put that back here. So now let's rather have a unfair fight between two different marbles. We'll have red marble with dual swords and one here with blue marble with the long sword. For good measure, let's just add lime with the old sword. And the dual sword, if we want something to spin faster, we just need to apply it over here. So let's say dual sword is going to spin much faster, and maybe green marble, having a basic weapon, maybe he will move a bit faster and have a quick little battle. Oh, was not expecting red to go first, but there we are. Okay, and blue wins. Anyway, that's enough for this video. In the next one, we will implement hit points, I think, so that you need more than one hit to destroy each other. And maybe also alliances, so if you have multiple marbles of a color, that they don't hit each other. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.